Hello, welcome to our Early Ed Town Hall. I am Ceci Cerna. I'm the Early Childhood Coordinator for this amazing district. Today I am joined by Greg Hare, who is a SPED Instructional Specialist, Norma Blasquez, who works for our amazing bilingual department, Irene Salom, who is the SPED Coordinator, and Alex Arroyo, who is the Student Systems Manager. So we're all here today to answer your questions, welcome you, and let you know why you need to enroll your child in our amazing district. Okay, before we start, here's a few things to keep in mind. If you would be kind enough to add your name and email address to the chat so that we can see if we need to address any follow-up questions, who's here. Also, we have the chat feature available, so we're going to ask you to post your questions on the chat, and then our amazing team members will jump in and answer any of the questions that you have on the chat also. And then just to let you know that this session will be recorded and posted on our district website. So what are we going to do this afternoon? We are going to define the programs that we have. What is preschool? What is pre-K? What is kindergarten? We're going to talk about eligibility, who's eligible to enroll, what about age, all of that, okay? We'll talk about the curriculum that they use for these grade levels. We'll look at the schedules. What are the schedule? What does a typical day for a 3-year-old, 4-year-old, and 5-year-old look like in the district? We'll share with you the different locations. Where is preschool housed in the district? Where is pre-K housed in the district? Okay, and then we'll show you a very great video from a very happy parent that'll convince you even more. And then at the end, we will open it up for any questions that you may have. Okay. So let's start with talking about what the difference is in the different programs that we have. Okay. We offer kindergarten for students that are 5 years old by September 1st. We offer universal full-day pre-K for students that are 4 years old by September 1st. And we offer preschool for students that are 3 years old by September 1st. The little asterisk by preschool will let you know that for preschool, you have to qualify. We'll talk about the qualifications in a minute. And then also to let you know that our preschool is a half-day program, while our kindergarten and pre-K programs are full-day programs. So on the screen, you see what the federal eligibility guidelines. So these are the guidelines for qualifying for pre-K and preschool in the Ysleta district. The first one is the child has to be unable to speak and comprehend the English language. The second one is the child is educationally disadvantaged. So basically, it's they qualify for free or reduced lunch. The third one is the family is homeless and the child is homeless. The fourth one is the child, it is the child of an active duty member of the Armed Forces of the United States. The second one also is active duty member who was injured or killed when serving on active duty. There's one about the child being on the conservatorship of the Texas Department of Family Protective Services. There is another one that has to do with a Star of Texas award. So if the parent is a peace officer, a firefighter, or an emergency medical first responder, and they were the recipient of the Star of Texas award, then you're eligible for preschool and pre-K also. And then the last one, the newest one, is the child of a person employed as a classroom teacher at a public primary or secondary school in the school district that offers a pre-kindergarten class under this section. Okay, so that is the newest one. Okay, so these are eligibility for preschool. Just to let you know that in Ysleta for pre-K, we offer free universal pre-K, so you don't have to qualify for pre-K in Ysleta. They will go ahead and enroll your child. However, the attendance clerk is going to ask you questions to see if you qualify for funding, and that's funding that's available to the district. So they are going to ask you to bring in the documents, and they're going to ask you these questions. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to the awesome Norma Blasquez from the bilingual department. She's going to talk to you about the first qualifier there, that is unable to speak and comprehend the English language. And she's going to talk to you about the importance of the home language survey that you are going to fill out. Thank you, Norma.
Thank you, Ceci, and welcome everybody. Thank you for being interested in this amazing district. I'm gonna go ahead and, like Ceci said, review a little bit of the first bullet there under the federal eligibility guidelines, which is unable to speak and comprehend the English language. The first step through this process is that you will be receiving part of the registration packet. You'll be completing a home language survey. If you note there's 3 questions in this home language survey. The first question will ask you which languages are used at home. Second question is which languages are used by the child at home. And then the third question there, if the child had a previous home setting, which languages were used? If there was no previous home language setting, then the answer could be not applicable and A. Okay. If there is any other language other than English listed in any of these 3 questions, we will go ahead and initiate the LPAC initial placement process, which initiates by providing the student or giving the student a language test, the state language proficiency assessment identification test, which is a pre-loss test. If the student qualifies and is coded under the American Bilingual or English limited English limited proficiency student, then the campus has an LPAC committee at every campus. They're going to go ahead and review the student and then see if they qualify for such services and offer you the bilingual or ESL services. Okay. Then, of course, then this time every year, our students that qualify for as an emergent bilingual will be assessed annually for language, see how they have gained language through a state assessment called TELPAS. Until they meet the eligibility or the reclassification criteria, meaning that the student has gained the language and now is an English proficient student. Okay, and so on that process, of course, we do have an LPAC coordinator at every campus that will follow this, and we have an LPAC clerk that can definitely help you and answer further questions as far as the home language survey and guide you in any direction. And of course, you do also have our department for any questions in regards to this process. Now, there is a part here in the following slide that goes a little bit more over the actual reclassification process. And so we can just move on to the next slide there. It will go over how we're good at that one, Greg. Okay, so the reclassification process goes as follows. The student will have to gain a composite score in that language test that the state assessment called TELPAS. They have to have passed the STAR reading in English in 3rd and up, or as early as 1st grade, they have a TELPAS Advanced High, and then we administer another test that's called Iowa. It's a reading and language for grades 1st and 2nd grade. So your student as early as 1st grade qualifies for to meet the reclassification criteria. There's a positive results from a teacher evaluation or rubric that is part of the process. So with that, of course, then the student will meet the exit criteria that I mentioned in the first slide. Okay, but like I said, you welcome to any questions, anything. We do have an LPAC coordinator at every campus and an LPAC clerk. And of course, you have our bilingual department. My name, Norma Blasquez, and of course, I have a whole department that can answer any further questions you have.
Thank you, Norma, for answering the questions. We're going to move on now to our amazing preschool and preschool collaboratives and talk about what is happening in these classrooms and what you need to do to make sure that your child can enroll for these, okay? So just to let you know, in order for your child to enroll in preschool, they have to be 3-year-old by September 1st, and they must meet one of the federal eligibility requirements. And we're going to review those again in a minute. Remember that this is a half-day program, okay? Here are the federal eligibility guidelines again. I'm not going to review them again because I just did so previously. So you have to meet one of these guidelines in order for your child to be able to enroll in our preschool half-day program. Okay, let's look a little bit at our preschool and our preschool collaborative programs and the amazing things that they do, okay? So we have knowledgeable staff. So in our preschool programs, we have certified teachers and certified teacher aides. So the fact that everybody is certified is amazing. That tells you that they're very knowledgeable, they're trained, they get professional development, and they know exactly what they need to do. In these programs, we have a smaller student to staff ratio. So our ratio in these is running about 7-1. Now, the state of Texas recommends a ratio of 11-1, but because these babies are smaller, as a district, we are honoring about a 7-1 ratio. And that means that in most preschool classrooms, there's at least 3 adults in there with the students, okay? We follow best practices, of course. We follow the early childhood outcomes that are given by TEA, okay? And that's how we align our curriculum, and that's how we work our report cards and our progress reports and everything. These are aligned with the pre-K guidelines. We have research-based curriculum adopted for age 3. So we have a curriculum that's specifically written for 3-year-olds and what they can do, okay? We offer diversity and inclusion, and these preschool campuses are housed within an elementary school, which means that these children are part of a campus community, which means that they go to the library, they go to fine arts, they go to PE. They are part of the school just like the 3rd graders are. So they have all those opportunities, field trips, everything that you would want for your child to be part of a school. They are part of the school and they're eligible for all of those things. Okay, what does the schedule look like? So our preschool is 187 days. So it's going to follow the same district calendar that you do for kindergarten, 3rd grade, 5th grade, middle school, and high school. Students will come to class Monday through Friday. I mentioned earlier that this is a half-day program. So in the morning, the sessions usually run from 7:45 to 11. In the afternoon, the sessions run from 11:30 to about 2:45. Okay, we do have an active partnership with Head Start. If you qualify for pre-K in Ysleta and you qualify for Head Start, your child may be able to go half a day in Ysleta and the other half a day in Head Start. So we do have some students at all the different preschool sites that are dual enrolled with Head Start. So they get to go a whole day because they do half a day here with Ysleta and half a day with Head Start. So you would need to log on to the Head Start website and register there and see that you qualify. But you have to be able to qualify for both to do that. Okay, so in what schools are these amazing preschool programs found? So they are found at Sageland, Scottsdale, Ysleta Pre-K, Parkland Pre-K, Edgemere, and Tierra del Sol. So these 6 campuses that you see on your screen are the campuses that have the preschool and preschool collab programs, okay? If there's an asterisk next to the name, so Sageland, Ysleta Pre-K, Parkland Pre-K, and Edgemere, those are dual language classes. So they offer classes there where the instruction is primarily in Spanish, okay? That's our preschool, our amazing preschool with our 3-year-olds, okay? So now let's talk about pre-K and kinder. So in order for your child to enroll here for pre-K and kinder, your child has to be 4 years old by September 1st. For kindergarten, they need to be 5 years old by September 1st. There's no eligibility requirements. So none of the eligibility requirements that we went over earlier are mandated. However, for pre-K, the clerk is going to ask you for documentation to see if you qualify for funding, for the district to get funding, okay? Now, pre-K and kinder are full-day programs, so they run from 7:45 all the way to 2:30. So it's a whole day of instruction for both of these. What does pre-K and kinder in Ysleta look like? Okay, I told you it's a full day of instruction for pre-K and kinder. All of our programs, whether it's our preschool or pre-K, are very safe. We have a security guard or a policeman at every campus. The children are always monitored by an adult because we know that safety is a priority for all of us. Also, in pre-K and kinder, we have state certified teachers. In pre-K, we have a teacher assistant in every classroom. So for pre-K, we stay true to the 11 to 1 ratio that is recommended by the state. For pre-K and kinder, we have engaging curriculum. The curriculum follows the TEKS and pre-K guideline. We have instruction in literacy, math, science, social studies, and social emotional learning. All of those are very important. Okay, and one more time, let me say that for pre-K, you don't have to qualify. It's universal in Ysleta, and Ysleta is an open enrollment district. That means you can live anywhere within the city of El Paso or the outskirts, and we will accept your child. We have quite a bit of transfer students that come to school from Ysleta that live in another neighboring district, okay? So here are the pre-K sites. We're at 17 schools, okay? We have schools in all of the feeder areas. We have schools in the Eastwood area. You'll see some elementaries in the Eastwood area, in Hanks, in Riverside, in Del Valle, in Bel Air, in Parkland, in all the 7 feeder areas. We have elementary schools within those schools that offer pre-K so that everybody has an opportunity to make sure that they enroll their child. So on the screen, you see the 17 schools that have pre-Ks. Okay. Now on the screen, you see where you can enroll your child for kindergarten. So if your child is 5 by September 1st, you can enroll them in kindergarten. And kindergarten is offered in every single elementary school in Ysleta. Of course, it's not offered at the 2 pre-K centers because the pre-K centers primarily have preschool and pre-K students. But you'll see there, and so we have a wide variety of options for you so that you can enroll your child in kindergarten. Okay, so let's talk about what you need to register. Okay, the age is 1. So remember, for preschool, you have to be age 3 by September 1st. For pre-K, you have to be age 4 by September 1st. For kinder, you have to be age 5 by September 1st. You are going to need a parent photo ID. You're going to need the child's social security card. You're going to need the child's updated immunization record. You're going to need the child's original birth certificate. You're going to need your current month's utility bill or home contract or lease. You're going to need proof of income. And if you're military, you're going to bring your alias documentation. And then if you need any more documentation, then the campus, of course, will reach out to you if they need any additional information. Okay, so here's the important timeline, okay? We're getting close to the first day where everybody will be available to register, okay? They are going to flash across the screen the online interest form, okay? So you are going to fill out the online interest form by March 30th, and that tells us, the district, that you are interested in enrolling your child, okay? After March 30th, we will forward those names and phone numbers to the clerks and the attendance clerks at the campuses. So if you have not registered, they'll call you to say, Mr. Hare, I know you were interested in registering Barbara, but I don't see her on my list. So is there anything I can do to help you? Okay, that's just to let us know that there's an interest. Okay, but the critical one that is in bold happens April 1st. Okay, online registration for Ysleta opens on April 1st. Okay, so you need to have your documents ready. You're going to go online, you're going to register, you're going to pick whether it's preschool, pre-K, or kinder. You're going to pick the campus, you're going to answer all the questions, you're going to submit all of your paperwork. In order for you to be fully registered, all of your paperwork needs to be submitted. Okay, we do have some campuses that fill very quickly. Okay, they're very popular, and because of their location, they fill very, very quickly. So I always urge everybody not to wait, to register as soon as possible so that you make sure that you secure your space, okay? Okay, I'm going to answer some frequently answered questions, and there might be questions that you might be thinking about so that we can help you, okay? Will the school contact me once I have completed the registration process? Yes, you will receive an email once the registration process is complete. For preschool and pre-K, the campus will call you once your online application is complete, and you'll get an email. Okay? Can I contact the campus if I have any questions? Yes, please, please, please contact the campus if you have questions. Okay? They're always available to meet with you. We met with the attendance clerks. They're always available to help you also. Okay? Do I have to live within the YISD boundaries for my child to attend full-day pre-K or kinder? No, you do not. At preschool, you don't have to live within the boundaries for your child to attend any school in Ysleta. Okay? What meals are provided to our students? So students receive breakfast and lunch, okay? Full-day students. And then AM, students that come in the morning, of course, receive breakfast and lunch. But students that come in the afternoon, they will only, of course, get lunch because they're not here in the morning for breakfast, okay? Who do I call for more information? We urge you to reach out to the campus if you need any more information, okay? What about uniforms and school supplies? I will tell you that most campuses do require uniforms, okay? And sometimes some campuses are preschool students, they wear a different color so that they can stand out quickly, and they can know which are the preschool students and then which are the other students, okay? And then, does my child have to be potty trained? For the safety of your child and others, it is highly recommended that your child be potty trained, okay? And then, of course, a note there, accommodations can be made for medical and or disabling conditions. Okay, we're gonna show you this amazing video from a parent who was thinking yes or no, maybe, to enrolling their child, and then she'll talk to you about why she decided to go ahead and enroll.
You know, I was a parent that thought that I was going to wait till kindergarten. I wanted to keep my son and daughter for a year, you know, more and more year. But I think it's something that it's very important that we do, start him at pre-K. So something that I've learned from my son is that once he started here, he completely gained confidence. They taught him how to be confident, how to be himself. I think it's very important that at this early age, they're taught to be respectful, especially to respect their friends, their teachers, and have them learn love overall, kindness towards people. They just show you good manners, kindness, love, and that's something that I want my kid to learn and have her implemented since she's here.
I love the video because she talks not just about the academic benefits, but the social and emotional, teaching our children to be kind to each other, to be respectful to each other. So I love that we have a testimonial here to show you the benefits of enrolling your child in early ed here in Ysleta, okay? So Greg is gonna go ahead and bring everybody back up, okay? And then we are going to see if there's any questions on the chat on the comments or the chat that we can answer, and I have all the team here. So we're happy to answer any questions. So if you have any questions and you haven't already entered them into the chat, go ahead and do so, and we will be happy to answer them, okay?
Child development one? I don't think so, not through my knowledge.
Do you want to let me know what the question is, and I can read it out loud?
Does YISD have plans to start a CDL program at any of the high schools, similar to the ones offered at Burgess and Franklin High School? The child development?
There is, okay, so there's a question about a CDL, a child development program. We do have a partnership with Riverside High School, and there's a vocational high school there, and one of the classes that is offered there is kind of a CDL class. Those students are on their way to become future teachers, and right now the students are working at Ysleta Pre-K with the teachers. So okay, that's the answer to that one. Do you have another one that you want me to answer?
How can I transfer my preschool student to another campus?
Okay, so Alex, here's a good one for you. Go ahead.
Sure, yeah. So as part of your current pre-K student, You want to transfer them to another campus. So depending on that campus, if that's an out of district campus for you or not, if it's not your home school, you can definitely go through the enrollment process on April 1st. That's going to follow the students, so don't hold off on that. But if that campus you want to go to next year is not your home campus, go ahead and fill out a transfer application that you can get directly off that campus's website. And then at that point, once they make the determination that they're going to accept your transfer, the record gets pulled over. That's something that the attendance office and the administrator at that campus can help you with. If you need more information on that or more detailed information on that, you're welcome to either call me, Alex Arroyo here at Central Office, 915-434-1043 is my extension, or you can call the attendance office or ask for the attendance office at the campus you want to go ahead and transfer to for next year. Looking at the chat, there was a question in there regarding how the lottery works for Ysleta Chacon. For that one, I would definitely recommend that you reach out to Ysleta Chacon directly and ask for either their principal or their assistant principal, and they can actually go into detail as to how they do their lottery on there.
Alex, there's a question here. It says, if all information has been submitted by April 1st for pre-kindergarten, is the entrance guaranteed?
So the way it works for pre-kindergarten, if we're talking the 4-year-old program, right? It's a universal PK. So yes, we do want you to submit documents so that we can, check for eligibility. But at that point, should you qualify, say based on one of the 8 qualifiers, and your situation changes, that qualification, you remain qualified all the way through next year. So once we determine that you're qualified for PK, you will not lose that qualification. Now, hopefully that.
Thank you, Alex.
Yeah.
Okay, and then there's a question about the time frame for full day school. So the school day starts at what time, Alex? What, 7?
School day starts at 7:30 and ends at 2:45
Okay.
for our 4-year-old program through 5th grade.
Okay, let me see. We talked about the transfer, right?
We do have a question about Parkland Pre-K having dual language.
Yes, they do.
They do.
Parkland Pre-K does have dual language classes for both for preschool and for pre-K, correct, Norma?
Correct. That is correct, Ceci.
Yes.
And then for Ms. Susie Gallardo's question, yes, it is universal for the 4-year-old program, but we still want to ask for those eligibility documentations because yes, it depends. It might affect the funding that we receive from the state, but it doesn't mean that we're not going to offer universal for 4-year-olds. So we ask for that just so we can see if we can maximize that funding that we get from the state.
Okay, there's a question about if my child turns 5 until December, does the child, I would think that the question is, does the child qualify for pre-K? So because the cutoff date is September 1st, not December, correct?
Yes. So if on September 1st, the kid is still 4 years old and the child does not turn 5 until December, that would be a PK age student at that point.
Okay. There's a question about the after-school programs for, so I'm going to go ahead, Ms. Moreno, and refer you to the campus to go ahead and call them. We do have quite a bit of campuses that have after-school programs, but they would go ahead and give you more information on that, okay? Alex, here's a question. If I do not have a utility bill under my own name, would my husband be the only one allowed to register my child?
So that's a great question. So the utility bills, so long as they're under one of the parent or guardian's names, that's okay. Whenever you fill out your online enrollment form on April 1st, make sure that both of you are listed on there and that you designate both of you guys as a guardian. And as long as the utility bill is under your name or your husband's name, that should be fine. If there's a situation, because it happens where the utility bills are not under any of the parent or guardian's names, if you want to go ahead and reach out to the attendance office at that campus, or you can reach out to me. We're going to get you what's called an alternate proof of residency form. You get that notarized. It basically says, hey, look, we're attesting that we're living in this home where the bills aren't under our names.
Yeah. Let me see. There is a question about an IEP. Do you guys want to? Okay. Does Kinder offer IEP? How do you go about doing that? So I'm going to mute and I'm going to let Irene or Greg answer that. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, for the Kinder students, kinder students, we do offer special education services starting at 3 years old. So depending on your child, Ms. Ava, if they have a qualifying disability, if they have already been evaluated and you already have an IEP, then we look at it, we would just do a transfer. If you are suspecting a disability, then we would go through what's called the referral process. So if you're not sure, you can always contact our special education department and ask for Maria Ramirez, and she can guide you through the entire process.
Just for the question for Janelle Lopez, April 1st is online enrollment. It's the open day for all our students, not just the preschool and pre-K. So if you have any kids in any grade level at Ysleta ISD that you're needing to re-register for next year, or they're coming in for the first time, you can do that April 1st for sure.
Okay, Alex, I'm going to jump in to answer the bus transportation for pre-K question, and then I'll send it back to you to answer about what is acceptable for proof of income, okay? So Ysleta Pre-K and Parkland Pre-K are two schools that offer bus transportation. So it's just the centers, okay? Ysleta Pre-K and Parkland Pre-K. So if you have a question, you can call them, and then they will let you know where the bus picks up and the bus times for those two campuses. Okay, that's Mr. Camacho's question. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you so you can talk about what do you accept for income proof?
Sure. So for proof of income, depending on what the situation is, just because there's so many, but I guess the simplest or the most common would be a recent check stub dated within 30 days of whenever you do online enrollment, right? So if you do online enrollment on April 1st, if you have your most recent check stub dated within 30 days, that's fine. If there's additional situations, make sure you kind of let us know, and we do train your attendance clerks to double check as far as what to ask for. It might get into a letter from an employer and stuff like that. One thing that I do want to mention on that is that for whatever reason that student that you're wanting to enroll in preschool or pre-K is a member of a household where somebody in that household qualifies for SNAP or TANF, that SNAP or TANF letter that shows the current one with the EDG number, that can be acceptable proof of documentation for eligibility as well.
Okay, you have another one, Mr. Alex. Does the child of a disabled veteran qualify for preschool?
So the child of a disabled veteran, if they have the letter from the VA, and most kids, most of them do, that is a qualifier. I know some of those letters that I've seen, they'll have like a percentage. We're not really worried about a percentage. What we're checking for, according to what the state asks us for, is that letter indicates that it's due to a service-connected disability. And, you know, most of those letters have them. If you have any question on that, we can definitely take a look at it and double check.
And I'll go ahead and step in, Ceci, on the question. There is a question, does East Point offer dual language? And they do. They do have a dual language pre-K. The other question there's a question, other than, aside from English and Spanish, do you offer any other language? And we do. We have international campuses that offer other languages. I'm going to go ahead and read a couple of them. So, for example, Alicia Chacon offers a third language. If you're participating in our dual, they actually offer German, Japanese, Mandarin, Chinese, Russian, and French. Edgemere International School offers Chinese as well. Eastwood Knowles offers Chinese. North Loop offers French, and REL offers German. So those are our international campuses, and they do have a third language other than English, Spanish in our dual language setting.
And then just to answer the second part of that question from Ms. Pimentel, if the child turns 4 in August, will they be going to pre-K 4? That is correct, because by September 1st, they're going to be 4 years old. So that would be a 4-year-old pre-K age student.
Okay, there's a question about, does my child have to be English as a second language to qualify? So we do have instruction, we do have classes where students speak English, and we do have classes where students speak Spanish. So you don't have to be a Spanish speaker to qualify for pre-K. There's all those other eligibilities of free and a lot of our kids qualify under free and reduced lunch. A lot of our kids are military, so there's a lot of other qualifications. Okay, so I have one. So if someone in the household receives food stamps, does the student automatically qualify for pre-K 3?
That is correct. So what the state says is they're a member of a household where somebody receives SNAP or TANF benefits. At that point, that is a qualifier, the document that they're going to ask you for. Whenever you do fill out online enrollment, there's a section where you fill out all the household members. So you'll list who's living in the household, who's receiving any sort of income, but you supplement that with your case letter with the EDG number, the current one. And so long as somebody in that household is listed on that letter, that's going to qualify the PK student or the pre-K or the preschool student, even if they're not the ones that are receiving that particular benefit.
Okay, and then I'm going to answer Ms. Quintana's question and Mr. Camacho. So Vista Hills has an English monolingual pre-K section, and then Eastwood Heights has a monolingual and a dual. So they have instruction in English and in Spanish. Okay, so that answers those two. Can we use the grandparents' care for an address, Alex?
So yes, let me just go ahead and let you know what constitutes the grandparent clause in this case, right? So there's two criteria that the state says you have to meet. Is one that the student and the parents, the guardians, they live out of district, but the grandparent lives in that attendance zone. At that point, that's where the grandparent clause kicks in, and you're able to enroll without having to apply for a transfer per se, right? Those sometimes get a little tricky. Like I said, if you have any questions, you're welcome to give me a call. I'll put my email or my district email here, but great source of knowledge on some of those that are very specific to your student. The attendance office at the school that you want to go ahead and apply to, they can also definitely answer to that. So let me go ahead and just put that my email in the chat in the right here, so you guys have it.
Okay, and then Ms. Martinez, on the screen right now are the 17 schools that offer pre-K. Okay, and like I said, we have pre-K in all of the feeder areas. Okay, so that is on the screen right now. So that's an answer to her question. Yeah, Eastwood Heights, they do have pre-K. They have pre-K in English and in Spanish. So I had just answered that, but yes, they do. Eastwood Heights does have pre-K in English and in Spanish. Okay, you want to take a look and see if there's any we did not answer, guys?
Mercedes, Yoda, what are the qualifications and how do we apply for PK? So I'm just going to kind of quickly let you know what the 8 PK qualifiers are, and I'll try to be as brief as I can as far as what the documentation may be. You just have to be eligible, or if you're eligible under any one of these criteria, that's fine, right? So one of them is being able to speak and comprehend the English language, right? Documentation, the campus, that's where they'll kind of help you. The part of enrollments we call a home language survey, and that gets that process started. Be educationally disadvantaged. That means if you're eligible for free or reduced lunch, that's another qualifier. That might be a check stub. That might be the case letter from SNAP or TANF benefits. If for whatever reason, God forbid, the family is homeless, that documentation or that's a qualifier, and then the campus can let you know what your documentation would be. Active duty member, a child of an active duty member of the U.S. Armed Forces, for sure. The child of a member of the Armed Forces, State Military Forces, or Reserve component who was injured or killed while serving on active duty. That's as well. That's where some of those VA letters come in. If the student has ever been in foster care, doesn't have to currently be in foster care, but if they've ever been in foster care, is a child of a person eligible, that means a parent has either has received or been given the Star of Texas Award. That's usually for peace officers, first responders, and firefighters. It's not just that if they're in one of those 3 professions, they have to have received or been given that Star of Texas Award. And then the newest one is a child of a YISD classroom teacher. If they're a teacher, or if you're a teacher that works in our district, and you're in, you have a student you want to come for either preschool or pre-K, that is a qualifier as well.
Okay, there's a question, Alex. Let me see. Does the qualification for pre-K 3 apply for both dual language program and monolingual? So yes, it's going to be the same. Of course you'll qualify either under income or once you meet one of the qualifiers, then they'll put your child in either the English class or the Spanish class, okay? And then Alex, there's a question about using their grandparents' address.
Yes, so for the grandparents' address, that's the grandparents' class, just to kind of reiterate the two criteria that make that eligible are the student themselves and the parent or guardians live out of district, but the grandparent lives in that school's attendance zone. That just basically kicks in the grandparent clause. That means that you can enroll without having to apply for a transfer. If you don't meet those two criteria, you can definitely always, and we encourage you to apply for a transfer depending, especially if it's a school that's out of either your attendance zone or out of the grandparents' attendance zone.
Okay, I'm going to loop Ms. Gallardo's question and Ms. Hernandez's question because they're basically the same, okay? Remember that for pre-K, it's universal, so you don't have to qualify. They will still accept your child even if you don't meet the qualifications, okay? What the attendance clerk is going to do is ask you for the documentation to see if there's possible funding coming from your child attending school, okay? So that answers Ms. Gallardo, Ms. Hernandez. Ms. Vargas, there are a lot of elementary schools in the Parkland area that have kindergarten, Dolphin Terrace, Desert Air, North Star, Parkland Elementary. I'm trying to think if I remember, is that all of them, guys? Yeah. All of those have
Desert Air.
Desert Air. Thank you, Alex. All of those have kindergarten, okay? And then what about if we have two kids at different YSD schools, but they don't offer pre-K? Would that qualify or not, okay?
So for Ms. Gandara, so, you know, as far as the qualifications for PK are those 8 that we kind of talked about earlier. Obviously, Ms. Stefan just talked about the universal PK for the 4-year-olds, right? So what ends up happening is, let's say that you have kids at 2 different campuses, but they don't offer PK. If you want all your children to attend the same school, you can make the attempt to register your little one at whatever PK that you're looking at, and then request a transfer for the other 2. But they wouldn't necessarily open up a PK if they don't happen to offer it at the moment, if that makes sense. The last chat, the last one, or the latest one so far, I should say, can I register my son on campus? You can definitely reach out to the campus attendance clerk for assistance with online enrollment. They're still going to probably maybe set up an appointment with you, sit you at a computer so that we get all the documents that we need electronically, right? But they can definitely, they're willing to, and they'll help you through that process as far as how to do that. Documentation you'll need just for general enrollment, copy of student birth certificate, because most of these kids at this age level are pretty new to the district or brand new to the school system. Copy of the child's most recent shot records, a copy of the parent or guardian ID, and then your proof of residency are the 4 main documents just for enrollment. And then obviously the additional documents they'll ask just to determine if there may be a PK qualifier for our 4-year-olds.
And then there's a question about T-shirts for Ysleta Pre-K. Please go ahead and reach out to Ysleta Pre-K Center. They will tell you when they have their T-shirts for sale for the upcoming school year, okay? And then there's a great comment about how www.ysd.net/pre-K has great information. So thank you for that. We built those pages on purpose for preschool and for pre-K. So everything that we went through is fully loaded on those pages with more information. So I strongly recommend that you visit the webpage, and then you can go ahead and get answers to your question, okay? And then for any further questions, whom am I able to call or email? So Greg's going to put it on the very last slide, and that has my information. I'm the early childhood coordinator here for the district, so I am happy to help you with anything that you need, or I can transfer you to the person that can help you. So I'm Ceci Serna. My phone number here is 434-0574. My email is cserna@ysd.net. If you need further information, if you're having problems registering, anything, please feel free to either call me or email me, and I am happy to help you, okay? And then the shots, I would go ahead and call the district and ask for the student health services, and they will tell you what the shots that are needed for kindergarten, okay?
Then just one more, the second to last comment.
Right.
So on April 1st, you're welcome to go to the district website and start the enrollment process for any child, right? Whether they're currently with us, we have to go through this every year, whether they're going to be brand new as a preschool or pre-K kiddo, or if you're looking into bringing them with us from another school for the first time, you can start that process at YISD.net as early as April 1st, first thing in the morning. A great source of knowledge just in general for enrollment. We always recommend that you reach out and ask specifically for the attendance office at the campuses or campus that you're interested in enrolling in. And they can definitely get into and answer questions specific to your situation, just because everybody's situation is slightly different.
Okay, I had mentioned the online interest form. I know that Greg had brought that up earlier. You are welcome to fill out the online interest form. That tells us that you're interested in having your child register at the campus. We are going to forward that to the attendance clerk, but that is not the registration link. So I just want to make that really, really clear that you have to, on April 1st, log on and fill out the complete registration, upload the documents so that you are registered for the district, okay? And Glen Cove is not one of the sites that has a pre-K3 program, ma'am, but Tierra del Sol does. Okay, and that's the one that's closest to you in your feeder area for Miss Hilton, okay?
And Ceci, I'm not sure if I might have missed her, but it got answered earlier. There's a question on there for a preschool if the student needs to be potty trained.
And so it is not required, but it's highly recommended that the student is potty trained, and our amazing teachers will work with you to help you to make sure that we're able to do that, okay?
And I just wanted to add, to see back to those that have been asking about, and those students with participating in a dual language program. I just want to remind you that one of the qualifiers is that the student is unable to speak English. Therefore, they're here to learn English as their second language. But do want to remind you that we have in our amazing dual language campuses, we also have students that are here that are monolingual, that are English only students, or English is their first language, learning Spanish as their second language. So reach out to the campuses. It is an amazing program. There are students, just like somebody asked, we have campuses that offer third language, but again, we offer support and bilingual services for those that need to acquire English as a second language, but we do offer in our dual and welcome to students that are learning Spanish as their second language as well. And of course, mention those that are even learning a third language.
Thank you so much, Norma. And then there was a question, Ms. Gallardo is interested in transferring to Eastwood Heights. So Ms. Gallardo, I highly recommend that you call Eastwood Heights and speak to the attendance clerk there and let them know that you are interested in transferring, and they'll tell you what you need to do. Correct, Alex?
Yes, and I would recommend that on April 1st, you still do the enrollment, because remember, depending on, you have to do one enrollment per student per year. So if your student's at one school right now and you're looking at transferring them to another Ysleta ISD school, that enrollment packet or that online enrollment form travels with the student. So I wouldn't let that stop you from going on April 1st and at least doing the enrollment. So that way you kind of have all that already done. We're going to need it anyways. And then reach out and ask specifically for the attendance office at Eastwood Heights. On April 1st, you'll also be able to access those transfer application links and then stay in contact with them, attendants, assistant principals for those transfers, so that they can get you an answer sooner rather than later on the transfer application status.
Okay, I don't see any more questions that we have not answered. Anybody see any questions we haven't answered? Are we good?
I think we're good.
Okay, okay. So on behalf of everybody on the team, thank you so much for spending a part of your afternoon with us. I hope that you have all the information that you need, and I hope that you're ready to enroll your preschool, pre-K, or kindergarten child in this amazing district of champions. It's a good choice. We have a lot of happy students and happy parents. So don't forget, registration opens on April 1st, okay? And I see one more question. If my kid is out of district and I'm interested in attending Alicia Chacon, would I apply on April 1st or wait for the lottery? Alex?
I would say go ahead and do your online enrollment on April 1st. And then on that same day, reach out to Alicia Chacon, ask for the attendance office, or if it's lottery related, the AP or assistant principal might be able to answer those questions specific to their lottery. But I would say don't wait on the enrollment. Go ahead and still fill it out on April 1st. That way you just have it done. You don't have to worry about that anymore at that point.
Okay, Mr. Burciaga, we are going to bring up the campuses that have pre-K3. There you go. Well, those 6 sites, Sageland, Scottsdale, Ysleta Pre-K, Parkland Pre-K, Edgemere, and Tierra del Sol. Okay? All right, I think that's it. I don't see any more questions coming. Do you guys see any more questions coming? Okay, so thank you so much on behalf of everybody. Have a great evening, and we'll see you on April 1st when you register, okay? We're excited to welcome your child next school year. It's going to be a great, great year, okay? Thank you, everybody.